Hey, Jack, I have two questions for you. What's it like being a Black man in America right now? How does it feel waking up every day? And second question, when you see videos of Jacob Blake, Ahmaud Arbery, and George Floyd, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
Um, so Ahmad, I'll say this is, the first thing that comes to mind when I see that is, I am a mixed man in America, but because of the way I look, I may not be perceived as that. I may be looked at, and I can say this like wholeheartedly. There's a lot of times I get looked at as, he's white, or, maybe he's mixed, maybe he's not. And I can say that because I just had a conversation last night with somebody that I know. I don't know him that well, but, he kept reiterating on the call, this be great for, he's like, I don't know if you're mixed. I don't know if you're white. He's like, I don't mean to be disrespectful. I know we know each other a little bit. And, I had to remind him, I had to let him know at the end of the call. I was like, hey, by the way, I am mixed. Like, I just want to let you know, like, no hard feelings, nothing. And so for me, it's weird for me to speak on this and everything that's going on, because personally, I've never gone through it. Personally, I've never been in the situation watching Dominic Smith last night crying in an interview and then talking to Damo later, where he came from, and he came out the hood, and that's where he comes from. And to see that man, a man of that magnitude, and knowing him since, he was a junior in high school to the point where he's at now. And, that's the first time I've ever seen him cry. And those are real, genuine tears. And to see him cry, and I think about him and what he's gone through. And knowing I've never been in that situation. I've never had to go through anything like that. But, to see Damo in tears like that, and kind of being alone out there, it's one of those things, trying to figure out a way to make a statement as a group in Major League Baseball. And, I don't want to speak fully on behalf of the group. I don't want to do that. I don't feel like the right person to make those statements on behalf of it, as someone who's never really been through it, and someone who's never been in any of those situations, which is why I've always leaned on Dex. I've always leaned on Dex, and I've always leaned on these other guys to follow in their footsteps and just be able to use their voice. And, it was a long night yesterday after the game. Just trying to gather thoughts and figure out what to do, and try to figure out how to do something unified, whether it was today or, yesterday. Everything happened really quick. Mo included me in the statement about the team, and I told him thank you. We talked about it beforehand, but at the same time, I wasn't playing yesterday. For me, I wasn't going to be here anyway, just because of COVID situations. We're not here for the game. They asked us to leave, and so I appreciate being included. But that was Dex's way of, I don't want to speak for him, but it was just about supporting everybody and supporting everybody else, and to make that statement of not playing yesterday. And it was a lot of trying to gather thoughts and trying to gather feelings and gather emotions, and then trying to get on the phone with players in other sports and try to understand, hey, what's going on over there? What's happening? Why the boycott? Why the sit out? And, it was hard, because it felt like it was putting a lot of people in situations where, there's not a lot of us in this game. There's not a lot of us in the game to try to make a statement together, and, to have, a couple games canceled, the Brewers and Reds game. I knew that game was going to be canceled. I talked to those guys earlier, and they were going to cancel it just because they said it was the right thing to do. And, Seattle guys sitting out yesterday too, Mookie sitting out. But it wasn't a league-wide thing. And you kind of saw it with what Evander Kane said. I saw it this morning that, they went on with their games, and that's what their league did. And we had it kind of was scattered, and then, players sat out once they understood. Some guys felt sorry because they had played earlier in the day, and then they're like, well, like, we're sorry we didn't sit out, like we didn't know what was going on. Like like that Milwaukee thing happened after certain games had been played, so there was nothing to do. And then trying to figure out something for today was tough, especially when they just, you don't feel that. And I'm not speaking about our team. I'm speaking about other teams in the league, because especially in regards to last night, I told the guys, hey, you got 20 minutes of game time. Like, I'm not expecting a decision to be made. And I love that they went out and played. I love that they went out and played and they won the game, because that's what we wanted. We wanted them to go out and play and to go out and win. But, conversations with guys around the league and just not feeling, fully supported and continuing to get asked, well, why do you want to sit? Why should we not play today? Why should we, why should we not play this game? And then, guys getting upset about not playing and not really understanding the situation. And then, trying to get a unified message from what the guys in the NBA had. And, I know that their message from talking to one of the guys today was that they just wanted to bring, not have basketball be a distraction yesterday and not have basketball be a distraction today, and to force everybody to face the reality of what's going on. And that's a lot of the comments that go on Twitter or on, you see the comments in the social media sections of, people saying, sports is supposed to be a distraction. We don't want to face, we want a distraction from the situation. And, that's kind of part of the problem is people don't like to face reality. People don't like to face the reality of the situation of what's going on. And that's where, by the NBA not playing yesterday, you literally had to listen. You had to listen to, well, why? Well, because of what went on in Wisconsin, what has gone on, since George Floyd was murdered, and what has gone on for the last 400 years. And you had to listen. You were forced to listen to the situation. And if it's uncomfortable, then I don't really know what to say to that. And it was hard. It was just like, I've never ever gotten emotional over this stuff. And then listening to Robert Horry talk last night, seeing his little interview and him talking about his kid who, like, I mean, that's like my brother, and thinking about my guys that I grew up playing ball with, and knowing what they've gone through. And, I've never had to go through that, but to hear Rob say that, he worries about, him coming home at night, that hit home, because I love that kid. And, I literally just talked to Robert earlier in the day about, like, I talked to him on the phone, and just to see how he was doing, see how the family was doing, and then hear him talk that night and get emotional. And that's not the guy I know. I don't know him to be emotional like that. And that was something that hit. And I think that everybody has had something like that hit home for them in certain times. And you just understand that at times like this, it's really hard. And again, there's not going to be answers made today. There's not going to be answers tomorrow about what the end situation is going to be, or what the end result's going to be, or what, it's just about what we can do going forward. Mark, I saw you tweeted that, Mo had, they were open to the idea of using Busch as a place for voting. Once I saw the More Than a Vote campaign go on, I got on the phone with Jimmy at Uninterrupted and talked to them. I wanted to be involved. And then when I saw David Price use Dodger Stadium, I called Jimmy again. I said, can we do this in St. Louis? And he got me involved with the right people about, what can we do? Or how can we make this happen? And it's not going to happen overnight, but I'm hoping that it can happen, and we can make, we can use Busch as a polling or as a voting, station here in St. Louis when that comes. And it just continued to take me back down a road of, all the missed opportunities that I've potentially had to make adjustments or to make change, and to, support different people in ways that I can. And I've missed on a lot of those opportunities, and it hurts and it sucks, especially with things continuing to go on. I've missed on those opportunities, and I truly don't want to miss on any of those opportunities going forward to try to make change.
And Jack, just to touch up on the second question, when you actually watched that Jacob Blake video, what went through your mind?
I don't, I talk with that, and we talk about, like, escalation of force, and I just don't really understand, the word was he had a knife in his car, and I get that. And they tried to tase him and it didn't work, and I get that. But then how you go from, taser, then you get 7 in your back. That's, and just talking with other guys that I've talked to, they felt that it was just anger. It was anger for it to go straight to 7. It doesn't really make sense how that happens. And then, you see, I don't think we still know the whole story of the kid who, the 2 people were killed because of him. And then, he kind of just walks up to the cops holding an AK, and people wonder why, well, how are they cool with him? He's walking up there with the AK-47, and every cops are just like, all right, we're going to arrest you. Like it's no problem, and, it hurts. And especially in that situation, watching that and listening to Robert talk yesterday and thinking about, Christian growing up. I mean, he's 14 now. Soon he's going to be driving, and, he's going to be on his own. And, I pray he never ends up in a situation where he's pulled over by a cop like that, and, has to use those rules those warnings that I know that he's been given about how to act and what to do in those situations. I pray that he's never in that kind of a situation.
Hey, Jack, for folks who maybe aren't aware. Oh, go ahead.
I was just going to ask, what's your family connection to Robert Horry? If you could kind of enlighten us on that. And then number 2.
It's family. That's family, and he's been family for, what am I, 24 now? 10 years? 10, 12 years? Yeah.
So when you say family, like just very close friends of the family?
Family. You don't got to be blood to be family.
Okay.
Jack, you touched on this, but do you feel supported by your team, even though they went out and played yesterday? Do you and Dex, when you guys talk about this? I mean, I know I don't want to force you to sort of sow dissension.
No, yeah.
You're here, but I want to hear what your thoughts are on them playing yesterday.
No, I told them before the game, I said, look, we got 20 minutes before the game. I didn't expect anybody to be like, hey, let's pull out of this game and not play. We were hoping for, kind of have more of a, it's tough because yesterday would have been the day for league-wide action, and, it wasn't able to happen league-wide yesterday, and hopefully it could happen today, but it doesn't seem like it's been able to happen today. It seems like, there's a couple games that aren't going to get played because players don't feel comfortable, and then there's games that are going to get played, and it's just not. It sucks because you'd love for it to be a unified thing, and I love our guys for going out and playing and winning, and they they texted us right afterwards. I wanted them to just. I said, this ain't about me right now. I said Dex needs your support. I don't want him to feel like he's on island. I'm not choosing to not play because I don't have to make that decision tonight. I said I don't have to. So just know that he knows you guys support him, but just let him know. And so I'm proud of the way that they went out and played the game and the way that they battled back, and that they're going to go out there and play today.
And what does not playing mean? How would you explain that to people who don't understand, who are sort of saying, can we do something else? What is the power in not playing?
So that was the conversation and the answer I was trying to get answered last night. And apparently that's Damo. The Mets are deciding right now, but I was trying to get an answer from the guys in the bubble of why not play, and I finally got an answer today right before I came to the field of we're frustrated, and we're sick and tired of there being conversation, but nothing going on, nothing happening, no changes being made. And they were sick and tired. It started with the Bucks. They were just like, we're not playing. You saw the Magic, they were out there. Bucks were discussing it up until tip-off, and it was just like once they decided not to play, and the Magic, you can't go play anybody if they're not going to play. The rest of the league followed suit. And the same thing happened in the WNBA. The Mystics said, I talked to one, and they said, we're not playing. And then the rest of the league followed suit. Some of the teams that wanted to play, but to support them and to support the decision, to support everything. And it was just to bring to light the situation and force people to, to ask the question, okay, well, why are they sitting out? And then, you look into why, and you see why. And you see the causes it's supporting. And, to bring light to a situation that happened in Wisconsin, to bring light to the racial and social injustices that have continued to go on and continue to have happen. I believe, you know, the stat from that Natasha, she gave to me today was, I want to find it because it was, when she said it to me, I was surprised. Here it is. You know, she gave me this stat, and it was, oh, she did. All right. Well, I can't. Okay, this was a stat from January 1st to the start of the WNBA season. There had been only 12 days had gone by without a police killing a black man or woman, and that was a stat that she gave me. And so that was from January 1st to the start of the WNBA season. I'm sorry it took me so long to find it, but you see why she's sitting out. You see why she's trying to bring light. That you see, and you see why the players sat out last night to continue to bring light and bring about discussion and try to find out a way to make change. The change is not going to happen overnight. You know, sitting out isn't going to make the change for tomorrow or going to make change for the next day, but at least forces people to face reality and not use, you know, them playing as a distraction.
Jack, should there be baseball played today?
Jack, do you feel like there's a connection between kind of what's happening at the national leadership level and the fact that athletes feel so strongly about maybe changing the conversation right now, getting this viewpoint out there?
Who asked the first question?
I did, Jack.
Thanks, Jeff. I don't have an answer to that one.
It's fine.
It was whatever it was going to be. It needed to be unified, and guys felt that the best way was to be unified and to go play. And then you know, there's talks of donating game checks, but again, that nothing has been. They didn't want to put anything out there until it was fully decided between everybody. But there's going to be donations and there's going to be actions for what's gone. There's going to be actions.
Jack, you mentioned the discussion with the Cardinals about Busch maybe being used as a polling place if the city needs it as one. And I know those conversations are ongoing. You mentioned actions. That's what Schilt mentioned as well, that he thinks we're going to see some more from the guys on the team. And I know nothing's to the point of announcing it yet. But can you let us in what you can on some of the conversations the Cardinals are having about some things they would like to see done?
I mean, I think that's the one that we're thinking about right now is, you know, I brought that to them of, you know, just seeing what David Price did and turning Dodger Stadium into a voting place. You know, if that LA needs it, and if, you know, St. Louis needs it to be able to use Busch as a polling place, and then you know, and to try to get involved more in the community here. You know, I've been here. This is my third year here, and I haven't been, and that's just the honest conversation. I haven't been involved enough, haven't done enough, kind of been. It's hard for the young guys. You know, you've got all those guys in Seattle, and, you know, you got to play the game, and you know, they feel like we got to play the game and we got to go out there, and, you know, what are we us sitting out going to do? You know, we're just a bunch of young guys still trying to make our name in this league and still trying to, you know, we got a year's worth at most of service time, and what can we have are we going to put our voices out there like that, or are we just going to play the game? And it's hard putting guys in situations like that. But as a young guy, it's hard because you just want to go about your business and get into the league, and then you're like, okay, now I can, you know, focus on what can I do to get in the community. And, you know, it's hit that point for me of like, okay, well, what can I do? And, you know, it's hard to look back and be like, well, why haven't I done anything up to this point? But now looking forward, it's what can I do? What can I do to get involved in in the community and in what's going on in St. Louis.
Baseball is kind of interesting in that because it tells young players, hey, pay your dues, get your time for lots of things. How has your conversations with Dexter, who's on a different place in his career, influenced and maybe changed some of your thinking on wanting to be more outspoken and active on things that are important to you?
Honestly, I'm sick of being outspoken because it's been a lot of talk. And I asked him before this, I said, I'm about to talk. And he said, you do what's in your heart. And then he said, you were on the call. We had a call earlier today. He said, you were on the call. You heard everybody's sentiments. You've talked to the guys around the league, and just hearing what everybody has to say. And I'm like sick of talking, and I just want to find things that I can do and things that we can do as a community and things that we can do as people to make things happen. And we've had the conversation has gone on, the conversation's continued, and I'm sick of talking about it, and I want to make things happen. I got some of my friends going to Washington right now to march on Washington, and she was like, just get on a plane, but come out and do the march with me. And I said, if I could, I would, but I can't be there with you. So you do it for me. You go and you have that march for me. There's a lot of things that can be done, and I think that it's fine. It's really time to make things happen. And conversations have been great, but stuff continues to go on, and I'm like just sick of getting up here and talking about it.
Thanks.
Jack, you've told us multiple times that because the games have started, the conversation should not stop. And at some point in time, this season is going to end. At what point do you look to what you can do when there aren't games or when there aren't interviews like this, and what's next for you, or what conversations have there been with the Players Alliance for what can be done beyond a season?
It's a lot. I don't want to get into any of what we talked about today. I'll let the older guys talk about that. Going forward, it's just, I've been up early since early this morning. People who know me know that I'm not up that early unless I care about something. And normally I'll get my sleep on days like today, come to the field, get my work in. But I went to bed late, was on the phone, up late till last night, was up early this morning on the phone, trying to figure out, what we can really do. And even to Damo, and I want to apologize. I've talked to him today. I want to apologize to him because I've been there for his Baseball Generations Foundation. I've been there for it, twice, but I've also missed a couple. And I don't want to miss any more of those because I got something else going on out of town. I want to make sure I'm there for that, and try to start something of my own and try to start something I can in St. Louis and also in these other communities, because it just, I don't know what it is. And I've said that since summer camp started. I've said that I don't know what it is, and I'm like, I'm frustrated that I don't know what it is. It sucks that that's still my answer.
Twice you brought up doing something here in St. Louis. Have you, in this time here, you've been St. Louis now for a couple months here as they started the season, have you become more familiar with the situation in St. Louis? Have you had chances to reach out, either talk with people you know through the Cardinals or people you've met by living here about what it's like here?
I've learned a little bit more, but not enough. I don't ever feel like anything's going to be enough until there's changes made. And